Dakota Johnson just went live, and let's just say she didn't hold back when it came to Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin. After nearly 8 years together, fans thought Dakota and Chris were finally headed toward marriage. But instead of engagement news, the internet got hit with a breakup bombshell. And then came the twist rumors that Chris has quietly reconnected with his ex Gwyneth. Now Gwyneth may be married, but whispers are swirling that lines may have gotten blurred. Dakota's reaction? Pure fire. She's making it clear she feels blindsided. And fans are trying to piece together exactly what went down. Let's rewind for a second. When Dakota and Chris first got together in 2017, they weren't chasing headlines. They skipped the Hollywood circus and kept things low-key with quiet dinners, cozy vacations, and a vibe that felt effortless and real. Insiders always said this wasn't just chemistry, it was respect, trust, and genuine love. Dakota wasn't just in Chris's life, she was part of his family. She built a bond with his kids, Apple and Moses, and embraced a blended family dynamic wholeheartedly. This wasn't about Instagram posts or paparazzi shots. It was about showing up for the everyday moments that really count. By 2021, their connection looked stronger than ever when Dakota stepped behind the camera to direct Coldplay's Cry, Cry, Cry video. Fans saw it as proof that this wasn't just a romance, it was a creative partnership. Which is why these latest rumors hit even harder. How did a love story that felt so real suddenly fall apart? And why is Gwyneth's name back in the mix after all these years?
Been dabbling even outside of film. You've been dabbling in music some, especially with co-directing Cry, Cry, Cry for Coldplay. Can you talk about that experience and if you were nervous at all then?
That experience was just pretty dreamy, and I am so grateful that I was given the opportunity to do that and make that video. I was working with such incredible artists, people at the top of their game in every department. So I felt extremely privileged to be able to work with those people and make that video.
But as we all know, even the strongest relationships face challenges. For Dakota and Chris, that challenge came in the form of distance, both physical and emotional. Between 2024 and 2025, Dakota was locked into a heavy filming schedule while Chris was jet-setting around the world on tour. They tried to make it work, but time zones, constant travel, and demanding careers kept pulling them apart. Fans began noticing the absence, no red carpets, no casual date nights. The cracks started to show. And it wasn't just about logistics. Sources say the real issue was the emotional distance that grew with every missed milestone. Dakota had fully embraced Chris's world, including his children. So stepping back wasn't just walking away from a relationship, was letting go of a future she'd imagined for years. By early 2025, the signs were undeniable. Dakota was spotted without her ring. The internet exploded with speculation, and by June, the breakup was confirmed. After nearly 8 years together, Hollywood's solid couple was officially over. But here's where things get even messier. Fans weren't buying the idea that busy schedules alone ended this love story. Quiet whispers suggested that Chris had become more focused on his music than on planning a future with Dakota. And then Nenner, Chris's ex-wife, suddenly seemed to be popping up more often. Of course, Gwyneth has always been vocal about how much she adores Dakota, even calling their blended family modern harmony. But with rumors swirling that Gwyneth's own marriage might not be as picture-perfect as it looks, fans couldn't help but ask the question, was her renewed closeness with Chris just about co-parenting? Or was there something deeper at play?
We're actually very good friends. I love her so much. She's an adorable, wonderful person.
In a recent interview, Gwyneth Paltrow openly praised Dakota Johnson, calling her a dream girl and saying she truly adored her. On the surface, it all sounded like a picture-perfect blended family. But now, fans are questioning if things were really that genuine or if Gwyneth had her own reasons for keeping Dakota close. Rumors are swirling that Gwyneth's marriage to Brad Falchuk is hanging by a thread. The whispers grew louder earlier this year when Brad's big Netflix project, The Brothers' Son, flopped and was canceled just 2 months after release. Insiders say that career blow hit him hard, while Gwyneth's Scoop empire kept skyrocketing. She's been laser-focused on turning it into a billion-dollar brand. And the gap between their successes has reportedly created serious tension at home. When one partner's thriving and the other's struggling, resentment builds fast. And sources claim that's exactly what happened. Meanwhile, Gwyneth has been leaning more and more on her ex, Chris Martin. For years, their conscious uncoupling was held up as the gold standard of peaceful co-parenting. But lately, their closeness has started raising eyebrows. With Gwyneth's marriage on shaky ground, fans wonder if she's been turning to Chris for more than just co-parenting support. And that's where Dakota Johnson comes in. Dakota and Gwyneth always seemed unusually close. They shared laughs at events, spoke highly of each other in interviews, and projected an image of mutual respect. But some fans now suspect that Gwyneth's friendliness may have been part of a bigger strategy, keeping Dakota close while quietly staying in Chris's orbit. As one insider put it, keep your friends close and your ex's girlfriend even closer. And the timing, well, that's what really has people talking. Just as Gwyneth and Brad's marriage reportedly began unraveling, Dakota and Chris suddenly split. Many can't help but wonder, was Gwyneth's presence in Chris's life part of the reason? For Dakota, it may have felt like a betrayal. She thought she was building a strong blended family, only to watch her boyfriend's ex become more present than ever. Sure, Chris will always co-parent with Gwyneth, but when emotional support and late-night talks blur the boundaries, things can get complicated fast. Now, the big question, did Gwyneth Paltrow quietly play a role in Dakota and Chris's breakup? The evidence isn't clear, but the overlap in timing is hard to ignore. And with rumors of Gwyneth and Brad already separated, or, as she might call it, consciously uncoupling, the possibility of her sliding back into Chris's life doesn't sound far-fetched. Still, history tells us not to count Dakota and Chris out just yet. Their relationship has always had ups and downs. And fans remember that in 2019, they broke up only to reconcile a few months later. Even now, Chris seems to hold a soft spot for her. He even gave Dakota a shout-out on stage right after news of their split broke. So where does this leave the triangle of Gwyneth, Chris, and Dakota? Is Gwyneth simply leaning on an old friend during a rough patch? Or is she quietly keeping the door open for something more? Either way, this Hollywood love puzzle just got a whole lot messy, and fans are glued to see how it plays out.
Thank you so much, everybody. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. Don't forget to see Materialists. We love you. Have a great, safe.
However, this time, things feel way more complicated. Gwyneth Paltrow's presence in Chris's life is bigger than ever, especially now that her own marriage drama is making headlines. She and Chris have always shared that unusually close, almost best friend bond since their so-called conscious uncoupling. And now, the lines look blurrier than ever. This love triangle is messy, and something tells me it's only going to get messier from here. But what do you think? Should Dakota Johnson fight for her relationship with Chris? Or is it time for her to walk away and let Gwyneth step back into the picture? I'd love to hear your take. So drop your thoughts down in the comments. And when you're done, make sure to check out the next video, because trust me, the drama doesn't stop here.